This video is sponsored by Everlance. More about them shortly. Today we're going to talk about 5 tips and tricks that drivers think work that really don't. There's bits of knowledge that are passed from driver to driver that are usually, if not almost always, wrong. Today we're going to correct them. Before we continue, I'd like to let you know that I'm giving away $100 when the channel reaches 10,000 subscribers. This is my way of giving back to the community that's given so much to me. All you have to do to enter to win is to leave a comment on a recent video. It has to be an original comment and not a troll comment. I'll pick a winner when the channel hits 10,000 subscribers. Thank you all for your continued love and support. Let's get into it. I'm sure at some point all of us have heard the advice to wait at hotspots. Well, that may not be the best advice, and here's why. A hotspot is not a forecast of future orders, but merely an indicator of previous orders. I'm going to pick on DoorDash specifically, but realistically, this could be applied to Uber searches as well. On DoorDash, a hotspot is nothing more than a store or restaurant that recently had an order placed, and if you're not already positioned close to that location, you've already missed that offer. This is why you shouldn't chase hotspots. There's a couple of mom and pop restaurants in my market that I almost never see offers from, but sometimes, out of nowhere, they're suddenly listed as a hotspot on the DoorDash app. Being an experienced driver, I know the likelihood of me seeing an offer from one of those places is slim to none. Rather than chasing hotspots, do yourself a favor and download the DoorDash customer app. See which restaurants are running promotions, like fee-free delivery or buy one get one free. These will usually be your true hotspots. Having said that, sure, usually hotspots are popular restaurants within your market, but there's no guarantee that there's going to be an offer waiting for you when you get there, let alone a good one. DoorDash and Uber can use hotspots to move drivers around your market to ensure orders are picked up quicker. Do yourself a favor and use the DoorDash customer app as a hotspot indicator rather than the Dasher app. Have you tried using the DoorDash customer app to your benefit? If so, what was your experience like? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Everybody loves a deal, and because of that, using the DoorDash customer app will keep you one step ahead of other drivers. Another piece of bad advice that I frequently hear is to let support know when anything goes wrong. I make it no secret. I do not deal with support unless it directly interferes with my money or I'm trying to cover my own butt. And I'm of the opinion that you shouldn't either. Let's take a moment and talk about why dealing with support is usually a waste of your time. I mean no disrespect to any of the app support teams, but as we all know, they frequently just give cut and paste responses to issues that may not be so cut and dry. At the end of the day, all they care about is whether you can get that order delivered or not. Here are a brief list of things that you'd be wasting your time calling support over. If the restaurant's out of an item and it can be swapped with something else, don't call support, text your customer instead. If you're having a hard time finding the restaurant or the drop-off location, skip support entirely and call the restaurant or your customer, as they're the ones that know where they actually are. If the staff at a restaurant was rude to you, don't call support. They're not going to care and they're not going to do anything. Write a review on Yelp. Everything that I just mentioned would be a colossal waste of your time to call support over. I'd like to give you a brief list of things that I have called support over. Last summer when I was on a grocery delivery, I blew a tire on my way to the customer. I knew I was going to be able to complete the delivery, but I also knew I was going to be 20 to 30 minutes late. In situations like this, they'll give you the option to cancel the order and keep the goods, or if you're able, to continue the delivery. In my case, I was able to complete the delivery, and there ended up being an additional $20 cash tip for me as I also notified the customer. Also, over this last summer, I got to a delivery address and tried to get buzzed into a secure building, only to be told over the call box that she accidentally ordered to her home address when she was actually at a friend's house. She asked me to take it to the new address. I did not commit to doing this, but instead asked her to text me the correct delivery address. I could have made my decision right then and there without having to deal with support had she actually been communicative and texted me within the app, but she didn't. Being as that this conversation was taking place over a call box, DoorDash would not have a recording of it, and therefore there wouldn't be any record of the requested changes. Due to this customer's lack of communication within the app, I begrudgingly reached out to support and had them get the new address. Long story short, this customer was trying to game the system and order outside of the delivery area. That phone call to support not only saved me a bunch of time, but likely also a contract violation. If you're waiting for an order and the restaurant's taking forever, report it in the app. Don't waste your time calling support. It takes 2 seconds in the app versus about 20 or 30 minutes of potentially waiting on hold to achieve the same thing. So far, we've talked about bad advice being passed from driver to driver. Let's take a moment and talk about some good advice. In my opinion, the single worst thing that a driver could do is not maximize their tax deductions. That's where Everlance, the sponsor of today's video, can help. If you're like me, tax time can be very stressful, and 1099 jobs don't make it any less complicated. In fact, it usually makes it rather daunting. Unlike a traditional job where taxes are deducted automatically, we as independent contractors have to keep track of and utilize every expense and write-off possible. The problem is, it's easy to lose receipts and forget to track mileage. But Everlance makes these problems a thing of the past. Everlance is an IRS-compliant mileage and expense tracking app that'll make tax time a breeze. It automatically tracks your miles and makes it easy to track your expenses. It'll decrease your tax bill and increase the money that you get to keep. Do you know what the single biggest tax write-off is as a gig worker? It's mileage. In fact, you can deduct $65.50 for every 100 miles you drive. The problem for me is I would frequently forget to track my miles, potentially losing out on hundreds if not thousands of dollars in tax deductions. With Everlance, you install the app and forget about it until you need it. Everlance automatically tracks your miles, and then you can later tell the app if those miles were personal or for business. Not only will it track your miles, but it'll also help you track other expenses that you may not have known you could write off. Business expenses such as your car, phone, data plan, hot bags, and so many other things that are tax deductible. With Everlance, drivers record an average of $6,500 in tax deductions every year. Even better, this isn't just for DoorDash drivers. It's for any driver that uses any app, or any person that needs to track their own expenses for their gig jobs, any income sources or side hustles. So don't miss out on a single mile or deduction. My viewers get 1 week free of Everlance Premium. To take advantage of this offer, follow the link in the description or the pinned comment. Never miss a single mile or deduction again. Everlance has been a game changer for me, and I guarantee it will be for you too. I'd like to thank Everlance for sponsoring this video. The next bad piece of advice is kind of a catch-all. This works in my market, so it'll work in yours too. As we all know, every market is different, and what works in my market may not work in yours. The fact of the matter is, no one outside of your market can teach you the ins and outs of your area. This is one of the reasons I feel it's beneficial to make friends with other drivers. By doing so, you can skip a lot of trial and error and avoid headaches before they start. Unless that person is in your market or is driven in your market, their advice should be taken with a grain of salt. For example, I've heard many complaints about Chipotle, whereas I've almost never had an issue. Another example of this in my market is Mod Pizza. Those orders are almost never ready on DoorDash, but they're almost always ready on Uber. In your market, that might be flipped. Everything just boils down to your area, and there is no such thing as one size fits all. Well, our next one is just common sense in my opinion. It's been coming increasingly under attack lately. Believe it or not, there are actually people running around telling you that you shouldn't be multi-apping. If I were to sit here and tell you to only invest in just one stock your entire adult life, you'd probably look at me like I had a third eye. Having said that, there's people within the community who do trash on people who run multiple apps. These tend to be your snake whale salesmen or the DoorDash yogis who try to sell you the fallacy that they've got it all figured out. As a content creator who communicates with countless people on a weekly basis, I can't even begin to count the number of unjust deactivations that I've heard about. To add insult to injury, when these apps deactivate you, they frequently keep the money that you've already earned. If you ever hear anybody say that you shouldn't be multi-apping, you should never listen to that person again. They have their own agenda that they're pushing and don't have your best interests in mind. To clarify my position on this, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a primary app. I'm saying you'd be foolish not to have 5 or 6 backup apps as well. Let me know in the comments how many apps you're activated on. Furthermore, by multi-apping, you're opening yourself up to a bunch more earning opportunities that you otherwise wouldn't have seen. I'm not saying pull a me and accept a DoorDash and an Uber Eats at the same time, but what I am saying is give yourself some more options. The final thing I'd like to touch on is acceptance rate. I want to preface this by saying I understand that hours are increasingly difficult to come by in many markets throughout the country. If you need to be a top dasher to get any hours in your market, this is not directed at you. With that said, one of the longest standing bad pieces of information being passed from driver to driver is that a higher acceptance rate will get you access to higher paying orders. I haven't talked about this much, but when I first started driving, I was a top dasher. It didn't take long at all for my acceptance rate to fall to about 40%. And that was during the lockdowns when people were tipping much better. That was also when DoorDash still claimed that being a top dasher would give you access to the highest paying orders. Going back to the idea that everything is market specific, being a top dasher made absolutely no difference in the offers I received. Some will disagree with me, and that's their prerogative. My market was also one of the first to get the Diamond program. In fact, I got to try it months before most markets got the program. And you guessed it, it did make a bit of difference in my market. Again, there's those out there who will disagree with me, including a couple of friends of mine. Who knows, maybe DoorDash just tweaked the Diamond program since I took part in it. But I know my market and the offers that come through in it, so it's very unrealistic for me to get up to at least 50% just to be disappointed all over again. If you drive in a major metropolitan area, you may have much better success in the Diamond program or the large order program than somebody like me in a medium to smaller market. These programs are not going to spontaneously generate huge orders in tiny little towns. I'm a firm believer that the orders that you get only boil down to your proximity to the restaurant and luck of the draw. As independent contractors, we're not obligated to accept a single order that we see. So, unless you truly can't get hours in your market, you can completely ignore your acceptance rate. Well guys, that's going to about wrap up the video. Did I forget any bad advice that gets passed from driver to driver? If so, let me know in the comment section below. And don't forget to try Everlance Premium 1 week for free with a link in the pinned comment. I will seriously never use another mileage tracker again. If you haven't done so yet, please do consider pressing the like and subscribe button. My name is Zach. Take care.